Alright, we're back. Let's do, what's this? So suppose the steering surface deflects downwards. An additional lift tail appears. Tail force generates restoring pitching moment above the center of gravity. And suppose that the change in M is minus 5,000. Oh shit. Yeah. Can they hear me? Yeah, they can, right? They can hear me? They can hear me. Oh, you can hear me, right? Oh, you can hear me. Right, so they said that suppose steering surface deflects downwards. An additional tail lift appears. The tail force generates restoring pitching moment about the center of gravity. And suppose the pitching moment M is minus 5,000, meaning it's restoring downwards. The rocket rotates back towards a stable flight. And why the control power matters? Because the red rocket continuously experiences disturbances during the ascent. So you can have the wind gust, you can have thrust variation, you can have atmospheric uncertainty. The aerodynamic disturbances without sufficient control effectiveness. Without the sufficient control effectiveness, trajectories okay. Easy. So let's say, for example, there's a rocket. So it's going to go up, 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 up. Right? And let's say your pitch moment is minus 5,000. So obviously, a rocket is heavy. So minus 5,000 is nothing. So minus 5,000 in a rocket that's going up is like 100 Newton at a private jet, kind of like that. So it's very small. For a rocket, minus 5,000 is small, but that means that the rocket will pitch downwards, right? The rocket will pitch downwards, but you need is, and the only reason control power matters is because while it pitches downwards, it's not going to pitch downwards exactly at minus 5,000. It's because you're going to have wind. So let's say, for example, it's pitching downwards, right? And if the wind is blowing from this way, then you're going to have more pitching down. Or maybe the amount of thrust uncertainty, maybe, let's say, for example, from the beginning, the way it launched, did it launch perfectly? Or did you have enough power to actually be able to straighten that rocket, right? So everything matters. Everything from wind, everything from thrust, everything from the atmospheric uncertainty, everything matters. Because just because they said minus 5,000 doesn't mean it's going to go minus 5,000. Because even if they say minus 4,900, it's going to still be more. It's still going to be more because you need, the main aim is that you want to overpower the negative that's going on in a rocket. You want to overpower that, because if it topples down, if it pitches nose down, meaning it's a bad thing, which means it is going to fall. And now even if you have that pressure here, even if you have the coefficient for pressure here and the coefficient for moment here, that's dangerous, because then let's say, for example, the wind blew, the wind is not going to blow, but then it's like the pressure is here, it's going to add up, which means you're literally saying it's literally getting like a bulk guy pushing the door, like bulk guy and some random dude fighting is one man. So it's kind of like that, right? So it is going to topple over. So you want to make sure that the coefficient pressure is here, but even if it's here, there is a thrust uncertainty comes in hand. You need to have enough power. So it's not going to be the exact same power, because if it's the exact same power, there's also risk that it's going to fall, because it's not minus 5,000, it can be more than that. And so you need to have enough power and need to use enough thrust power to make sure that it is stable, right? Let's do number 2 now. Let's do number 2 and number 3, and let's combine that using like 3 examples that combines number 2 and number 3. Let's do like 3 examples that combines. Is it possible to explain number 2 and number 3, section 2 and section 3, section 2 and section 3, and based on that and based on the section explanation, give like 3 examples that combines section 2 and section 3. Oh my god. So, how steering motion creates aerodynamic force. So, steering surface moves curl E. So, you saw that curl E is greater than zero. This means the steering surface moved downwards. Could be elevator, could be fin, could be control surface. Now, what happens physically before steering motion? I'm just going to move the HDMI. Airflow moves smoothly around the surface. Now, steering surface bends downwards. Just going to move that. So airflow shape changes, pressure distribution changes. The big idea is the steering deflection changes the air. Okay, convert this to latex code. Goddamn, convert this to latex code if you don't mind. Oh, that's it. Wait, why did it stop? Continue. Physical interpretation and of steering deflection. So the core idea behind this section is very simple. Steering motion changes aerodynamic shape. Suppose the steering surface deflects. So this may represent the elevator deflection, fin deflection, aerodynamic surface motion. So before steering motion, airflow moves smoothly around the aerodynamic surface. After steering deflection, the aerodynamic shape changes. Pressure distribution changes, aerodynamic shape changes. Meaning aerodynamic forces will change. An additional aerodynamic lift now appears. And this additional lift restoring aerodynamic force for tragic. So core idea behind the steering deflection. So core idea behind the steering deflection. So the core idea behind the section is simple. So steering motion changes the aerodynamic shape. So suppose the steering surface deflects, that curl E is less than zero. So this will represent the elevator deflection, the fin deflection, the aerodynamic surface motion. And before steering motion, airflow will smooth. Before the steering motion, airflow smoothly moves around the aerodynamic surface. And after steering deflection, the aerodynamic shape changes, the pressure distribution changes, and aerodynamic shape changes, which means the aerodynamic force will change. And then additional aerodynamic lift now appears that del L is greater than zero. The additional lift produces restoring aerodynamic force used for trajectory correction. So, steering motion changes aerodynamic shape. Aerodynamic shape. And suppose the steering surface deflects, the del E is less than zero. gonna have elevated deflection, wind deflection, aerodynamic steering surface motion. Before the steering motion, airflow moves smoothly around the aerodynamic surface. After deflection, aerodynamic shape changes. Is my webcam a bit too big? It is. Before steering motion, airflow moves smoothly around the aerodynamic surface. After steering the deflection, aerodynamic shape changes. Before steering motion, airflow moves smoothly around aerodynamic surface. And after the steering deflection, aerodynamic shape changes. Around surface. After steering deflection, aerodynamic shape changes.